500 plus horsepower Hurricane I-6 engine coming to Jeep, Ram, and Dodge. All new 3-liter twin-turbo Hurricane will provide power for trucks and SUVs for decades to come. And they're coming in 2 variants, the standard output and the high output. At 500 horsepower, there's no need for a SCAT pack, guys. This is the future. Let's talk about it. What is going on, guys? It is your boy Knockout360 here with another video for you guys. So as you can tell, I'm in a car. That makes this a car vlog. You already know how it's going down when I come around. Let's get into it. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets. Anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around because you are in the right place. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out, right? So first things first, the Hemi is dead, right? Big V8, 485 horsepower dead. 370 horsepower 5.7 dead, 707, 717, 797, 807. They're all dead, guys. We're living in the last days of the V8 as we've known it, you know. So that makes room for the future, and the future is electric. The future is this right here. Eventually, your car is going to be powered by this, an Apple device, you know, a circuit board, a CPU, a battery. That's what's going to be under the hood of your car, is basically a giant iPhone. But it looks like before Dodge goes 100% electric or completely electrifies their portfolio, which wouldn't make sense because you think about it, a lot of people live in apartments, people live in townhomes. They don't have the ability to have a 30, 40, 60-foot cable stretching from their car to, you know, a wall outlet in the house or a wall outlet in the apartment room or something like that. So it's not necessarily the smartest thing for Dodge to go completely electric this soon. To my understanding, they want to be 100% electric by 2050, or is that 2030? 2030, I'm sorry. They want to be making half of its vehicles battery powered by 2030. So by 2030, they want to be 50% electric. Stellantis, right? But before they do that, before they get rid of all gas powered engines, the Hurricane, which is an I-6 inline 6 engine. If you're familiar with inline 6, we're talking BMWs, we're talking German engineering, German manufacturing. That's where that I-6 comes from, at least to my knowledge. Reports have stated that they're going to be coming in 2 variants, the standard output and the high output. Obviously, the standard output is going to put out less power than the high output, but by how much? Let's find out. Standard output Hurricane, Stellantis promises will offer more than 400 horsepower. That's your RT engine right there. The RTs have never offered over 400, 370 max. More than 400 horsepower, more than 450 pound-feet of torque. 450 pound-feet of torque, that's SCAT pack numbers, right? At a max of 5,800 RPM, the high output will offer more than 500. There's your SCAT pack right there, with more than 475 pound-feet of torque and 6,100 RPM. That's the initial configurations. They're saying that those are Hemi power figures, so fans of the current V8 may start to sweat, which basically means that they're giving us a more efficient, smaller engine that's more powerful than what we've already known. That replaces the RT and the SCAT pack. Oh, that makes sense right there. I just thought of something. This may not make sense. I'm just spitballing at this point. I'm going off script. But maybe the RT and the SCAT pack equivalent in the future, right? Get rid of the, you know, the 392 Hemi, get rid of the 5.7 Hemi. But maybe the SCAT pack and the RT equivalent in the future will be I-6 engines. You know what I'm saying? Because based on the numbers that I just read you, the standard output's putting down 400. So there's your RT right there. The high output is putting down 500. There's your SCAT pack right there. And then above that, there's no way that they could do an inline 6 that's putting down 700-800 horsepower. That wouldn't make sense. You might as well just put a V8 in there. So maybe above the I-6 engines is where the electric engines come into play, or the electric models come into play. And that's where the 700, 800, 900 horsepower engines come into play. You know what I'm saying? That's where the power comes into play when they go fully electric. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. That makes sense right there. So for the RT and the SCAT pack trims, We're looking at standard output and high output, 400 and 500. That's your RT and your SCAT packs right there. And then once we get into the Hellcat numbers, Hellcat Red Eye, Jailbreak, Demon numbers, that's when we go fully electric. And that's where we're seeing the first all-electric muscle car. That might actually make sense. I'm just spitballing that as I read this information. But yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The plant has the capacity to produce up to 250,000 new Hurricane engines per year, with full production beginning in the next few months. The high output variant will require premium gas. Sounds familiar. And the standard output will run on regular, but is often recommended for premium. What does that sound like? Sounds like an RT. I remember when I was looking for my V6 and I was looking at an RT, I was looking at the gas in the gas gauge or whatever, and it said, you know, you can put regular, but we recommend premium. So that literally sounds like the RT engine right there. As of right now, that's all we know, but they are going to be putting that Hurricane engine across the board in all Mopar platforms, from Jeep to Ram to Dodge. So get ready for your Jeep Wranglers to be running with the I-6. Get ready for the Dodge or your Rams, your Ram 1500s, 2500s to be running that I-6 engine in the standard output and high output. No more SCAT packs 392s, no more SRT 392s, no more Daytona 392s, getting rid of all them trims. They're going to give you standard output and high output. And below those two will probably just be a basic V6 or a basic I-6 engine. You know, just a basic I-6 that, you know, 200 or 300 horsepower. That's just kind of your standard edition or your SXT type, right? So let me paint this. Let me come full circle. So SXT will probably just be a base model I-6 engine giving you 200 or 300 horsepower. As you get into your RT 5.7 realm, we're looking at the standard output. That's going to be your 400 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque, standard output. As we get into the SCAT Pack 392, Daytona 392, SRT 392, TA 392, wide bodies, all that good stuff, that's where the high output I-6 comes into play, 500 plus horsepower. And then above that, once we get into the Hellcat numbers, that's when we're getting into the electric engines. That's when we're getting into the first electric muscle car, the all-electric battery-powered muscle car, which is probably going to be producing some astronomical numbers. I mean, if you guys watch TV like I watch TV, you line up a Tesla next to a Hellcat or a SCAT Pack, it smokes it every time. Sad, but true. I mean, not every time. I've seen demons get the best out of these out of a Tesla. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, these are perfectly prepped, drag stripped, perfectly built demons. You know what I'm saying? Not just your run-of-the-mill Hellcat or your run-of-the-mill SCAT Pack. But so that makes sense. So basic I-6 engine to start with, standard output, high output, then electric engines. Tell me if my math is making sense, if my math is mathing, as they say, because I'm sitting here just spitballing this, and to my understanding, they're going to run the I-6 engine with the electric battery-powered car at the same time. I keep wanting to say engine, but that's obviously not the case. The all-electric battery-powered muscle car at the same time. It wouldn't make sense for them to go completely electric from top to bottom for the Charger and Challenger or whatever they come out with in the future. They're going to lose a lot of people if they go that route. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of people in this world that are not ready to go fully electric. And then I just explained to you that based on people's living circumstances, it would make sense to have a car that they got to plug in every night, you know? So boom, there it is. Your Hellcats will be electric, or your Hellcat variant will be electric. And then everything under that will be your I-6 engine. It wouldn't make sense for them to give you an 800 horsepower I-6 engine that runs on premium, because that's probably just as bad as a V8. Maybe a little better, but probably not as much as it could be. So boom, there it is. That makes perfect sense. That makes sense, actually, doesn't it? Think about it. I mean, talk to me. Talk to me. It's like if you want that upper echelon power, you want that Hellcat equivalent or even more powerful, that's when that sun is hitting my face just perfect right now. You know, I feel like I'm in a dramatic movie right now. I should be telling you guys something real serious. But if you think about it, that makes sense, because they can't go 100% electric. And having an I-6 engine makes sense because they're not getting fined for the government regulation issues and getting taxed and all that stuff. They can still make a V6, not a V6, an I-6 engine You can tell I'm not used to saying I-6. You can tell they're going to make an I-6 engine that's going to meet all of the qualifications and requirements that they need to meet as far as, you know, safety emissions and all that good stuff. But they're going to be able to stretch that I-6 engine out as much as possible and give you that power. One thing that we need to, you know, as muscle guys, we need to go ahead and understand. I can smell somebody blazing right now. Yeah, somebody's smoking something good. I'm in the park right now filming and somebody blazing. But, oh, it smells good. But one thing that we need to accept is we're never going to get that V8 sound anymore. That sound is done. That V8 muscle car rumbling that we all know and love, I think we need to come to the conclusion that we're going to have to sacrifice that forever, because no I-6 engine is going to give you that rumble like a V8 is, and no electric car, no matter how fake it sounds, it's never going to give you that V8 rumble. So that's something that we need to go ahead and just put to bed. Rest in peace. Rest in peace V8 cold starts. Rest in peace V8 rumbles. All of that stuff is dead. The future is going to sound like, if you've ever heard a, I mean, let's just be honest here. When you go to these car meets and you hear these JDM cars, that's probably what our cars are going to sound like. Maybe a little deeper, but basically like that. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and kill that, because you can get rid of the noise. But that makes sense, doesn't it? Talk to me. Look at my logic. I literally just spitballed that. I had a script and everything, but as I was talking it through, it just kind of made sense to go this route. But yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know what you think about that. So the Hellcats will be pretty much electric. Scat Packs and RTs will be standard output and high outputs. That makes sense to me. Talk to me, man. Like, subscribe, comment. This is one of those videos where I want feedback, because I literally just made that up in my head right now, because I've always been concerned how they were going to run both of these platforms together. Because if you expect all of the V8 guys that have historically bought V8s in the past to all of a sudden go from a V8 to an iPhone under the hood of their car, like, that's not going to happen, no matter how much power you give us. Because a lot of you guys looking at the comments, regardless of the power numbers, you want the sound, you want the feel, you want the look, you want the torque, you want all that. And you're not going to get that with a electric anything. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me, because this would be a good video to have that discussion, man. Like I said, from top to bottom, talk to me as well. How do you feel about my math? Does it make sense? Let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, man. As always, it's been your boy Knockout 360. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.